Man, what a good performance by our guys. Um, one of the things we talked about before the game is in a one-game series. Usually, it's about which team can impose their will on the other team for as close to 48 minutes as possible, and our guys responded. We always say, we always talk about who we are and what our identity is and who we want to be. And I told our guys before the game, I said, these one game series in the playoffs now for us, it fits us. It fits our identity. We want to play fast. You know, we want to play physical, and we want to play for each other. And the group in that locker room has been connected ever since I've gotten here. So they've always tried to play for each other. When you have Foxy on the floor, we've always tried to play fast. So for us, it was about trying to find a level of physicality for as close to 48 minutes as possible. And that has a lot to do with imposing your will on your opponent, especially in a one-game series. And I told our guys before the game, I said, we found that physicality after the All-Star break. We found it, and we started becoming more consistent with it. And our guys did a hell of a job trying to stick with it tonight for as close to 48 minutes versus a veteran team that's been in plenty of situations that are similar to this. Had a lot of a lot of great performances. As a team, we always talk about moving the ball and how well they protect the paint. Whether they blitz Steph or we caught the ball in the pocket on a pick and roll or we drove the ball, we did a good job of spraying the basketball. We were 10 for 18 on sprays. It was beautiful basketball to watch. Another thing we talked about was attacking the offensive glass. The games that we've won, we've done a great job on the offensive glass, and for us to have 15 offensive rebounds and 25 second chance points was huge. And then on top of that, obviously Fox and Domas did what they were supposed to do, but Keegan, lights were as bright as they can be, and he stepped up and he delivered. HB down the stretch, when we needed a bucket, he stepped up and he delivered like a veteran should. But I tell you, man, Keon Ellis, the confidence he has and the swag that he brings to this team for a young guy that was on a two-way in February, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's a lot of fun to watch. And he just goes out night after night after night after night after night and shows he can help us get it done on both sides of the floor. And every game, you can see he's getting a little bit more comfortable, starting to attack the basket, starting to make plays, not just a catch-and-shoot three-point guy. And that's a lot of fun to be a part of watching his growth, especially in a short amount of time and as quickly as he's grown. Hell of a win, but we're not done.
Coach, you've talked a lot about the importance of winning the possession game. Just how crucial was that in this one, and what allowed you guys to do that?
It was huge. We ended up scoring 116 points, but in the playoffs and all that, we're not always going to score 116 points. In the playoffs, you got to be able to defend, and you got to win the possession game. And I give our guys credit. The one area obviously we lost is the free throw line area, but other than that, we were great taking care of the ball. We were great winning the offensive glass battle. And then, if you couple that with the way that we're able to defend, you're going to have great results. You don't have to rely on your offense to go win your games. You can't, if we keep playing to our ability, playing fast, continuing to play for each other, especially when it comes to the spray game, because Domas has every team doing this to us. If we continue to do that, the sky's the limit for us offensively. Where we have to make sure we're good night in, night out, is what you said, is in the possession game and defensively.
Mike, this has been a 2-year process for you to get this team, close to where you want them to be defensively. And thinking back on that, I don't know, the buy-in from guys like Fox, who comes out here and kind of echoes a lot of what you say. To have Keon do what he does, to have Davion kind of reemerge and do the things he does, Keegan make a leap, Fox, do what he's done defensively. Like how much of all of those things had to kind of come together and coalesce for you guys to get here, and how gratifying is it for you to see that?
It has to come from the players, and when it truly starts coming from the players, that's when you're going to see the biggest leap. And I've been I've been with a lot of different teams in a lot of different situations, and it's no different. And so to watch our guys now and the physicality that they bring to the table, and the communication and the attention to detail, them embracing it, all that stuff, to watch it and hear everything being echoed that we're trying to talk about, it's you feel good for the group, because especially when they have some success doing it, because in my heart, my soul, I know at the end of the day, if we want to reach levels that we've never attained, we're going to have to be able to defend. And I want to make sure everybody knows that doesn't mean I'm not going to coach offense. Offense is very important. We need to shoot threes. We need to play fast. We need to space the floor. We need to attack. We're going to practice a lot of offense. But we need to defend too.
Mike, sorry. Keegan tonight, it was a coming of age game for him. I mean, we've seen him have the big 45-point or 47-point game early in the season, but just to watch him hunt shots in that first quarter, just how good did that make you feel to see him, like the light bulb going off and him understanding just how much impact he can have on a game for you guys?
No, it's great, and we've talked about it all year. Last year Keegan was just a spot up catch and shoot 3-point shooter. And all season, he's tried to step back three. He's got in the paint, shot his little leaner, and as a coach, he's a young guy. At times, even for his teammates, it can be a little frustrating, but he can end up being great with that stuff. And so you got to keep giving him the freedom and the confidence to do it. And his teammates have backed him all year. We've backed him all year. And, it's just a matter of time, in my opinion, before all those shots that he's taking and moves he's making from all three levels become secondhand to him. It's a lot of fun to watch his growth on both ends of the floor.
Mike, you talk a lot about imposing will, and given you're playing that team that you've seen firsthand do what it does in the third quarter, what stood out to you about the way De'Aaron imposed his will, scoring 14 points in the third after halftime?
He got to his spots. That's what he started with. He used his speed, which is second to none in this league, and he got to his spots. And one of the things that I've talked about with Foxy is he's already a great player. He's had a great individual career for a young guy already. But he could be a great player that wins at the highest of high levels. He's that good. And the great ones that win at the highest levels, they have another gear that they get to, when it's go time. And when you look at them, you never see them tired. They take it to another gear, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go rattle off 15 straight points. They take it to another gear and get to their spots because they're that good to score it. Or if they draw 2-3 defenders, they get to their spots and they make their other teammates better. They make the game easier for their teammates. And to me, that's what Foxy showed. We switched up his rotation tonight, He played 2 bursts. He played a long first one and a semi-long second one. And he looked good. He got to his spots, and he made plays for himself. He made plays for his teammates like he's supposed to. And that's a step in the right direction in terms of figuring out how to be great, but not just a great individual player, a great winning player that can take your team to heights that it's not used to.
How did you feel beating the team that not only did you coach there for a while, but the guys that you coached for so many years? How did you feel about beating them and ending their season?
I didn't care who we played. It was about getting a win. And Steve Kerr is the most competitive guy. Blonde hair, blue eye, good looking dude that looks like the All-American guy. But he's about winning, whoever's in front of him. He wanted to kick my ass or our ass. And trust me, I wanted to kick his ass or his team's ass because they were in front of us. But, you know, in terms of it being Golden State or anybody, I don't care who's in front of us. We want to win.
Coach, you know probably better than anyone that a scoreless night from Klay Thompson doesn't really happen often. How are you guys able to make that happen?
Like I said, I thought our guys did a great job with their physicality defensively. We did a pretty good job with our switching when we need to switch. We did a pretty good job with our contests. But you know what? You also need players to miss some. And he probably had a couple of looks that normally go in. But hopefully at the end of the day, it was an accumulation of us just trying to make it hard on him. And trying to make him feel like there were bodies around him. But he's a great player. He's a Hall of Famer. And he just had one of those nights, and everybody does.
Mike, I'm going to ask you to talk about Keon Ellis a little bit more. Just reading some of the reaction instantly, it seems like an arrival game for him, or a lot of people are suddenly discovering and figuring out who he is. It's kind of a two-parter. The first part is talking about his journey and the moment for him and celebrating him in this game, but also his story and how a two-way player can turn into someone who has big minutes on a big stage like this.
But the crazy part about it is I'll never forget coming into the season, we had Keon, Kobe, and let me see who's on our roster. Keon, Kobe, and no, not Kessler. Oh, and Davion. We had those 3 guys, and we were like, okay, well, maybe any 3 of those guys could play the backup point, or get minutes there every once in a while. And obviously, Davion had a good year for us last year, so he was the front runner. And for me, I was like, okay, Kobe's number 2 and Keon's number 3. He's a two-way guy, and it'd be great for him to get a little bit more experience in the G League. And in practice, he just started doing things that were kind of interesting. And then I tell you what, the 2 games that, we got blown out in Houston, just throwing him out there and seeing how he impacted the game and how he navigates screens. Like, he navigates screens like a veteran. He's hard to screen in the pick and roll. Davion is because he presses up and he's fast and he's strong. He's like a pit bull, Keon because he's just so slinky, if that's a word. He just moves. It's like what's the movie with the dude, like there's a Matrix, like the Matrix. It's like ooh. And he gets over screens, and he doesn't get screened, And I don't know how he does it for such a young guy. To me, I'm amazed at it. And then he gets his hands on balls often and tries to rebound, and he's confident. I yell at him, and he's just like, "Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Go ahead. Well, this is what I was doing." Like, he does not. He's just normal. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't get pissed. And I'm like, And so the more I played him, I was like, okay, wow, maybe at the end of the day, it's him. And he got in some big games. He did some great things for us. Some of the things that stood out, he started at the point when Foxy was out against Portland, and he started again against Oklahoma City, against Shea, and he does things to guys that you don't really see guys in the league do. And next thing you know, everybody from ownership on down is like, we got to convert him. And, I mean, you saw signs of it early, but, man, there was no way that I could tell you that he'd be in the position he's in right now. But every time we've given him an opportunity, he just keeps getting better and better and better. And like I said, he started out just being a catch and shoot guy, and now he's making plays. Keon, you got to stay down though, man. You keep jumping in the air. You got to play off of two, play off of two, play off of two. Other than that, I'm excited about his growth potential. It's great that he performed on a stage like this, and everybody out there in the NBA world is starting to know who he is. But for us, sometimes you gotta find diamonds in the rough. I'm not saying Keon is Jokic. Okay, I am not saying Keon is Jokic, please. But I think Jokic was a second-round pick. Draymond was a second-round pick. And to find guys like that can be impactful, whether they're a starter or even a rotational player, that's huge, and I give Monty and Wes a lot of credit, because he's helped us tremendously, and obviously he's going to have an opportunity to help us going forward for many years.
Coach, back here. No step stool needed this time.
I see that.
Hey, we've been kind of like dancing around this topic, kind of like the Matrix, as you referenced.
Okay.
You imposed your will. You talked about Klay Thompson. You're the only one in this room that has been with this Warriors team as you saw this dynasty grow and prosper. That said, the knee-jerk reaction to Dub Nation is that it's over for the Big Three. What say you, Coach?
I mean, you got 3 Hall of Famers. I don't know. Those guys still, in my opinion, can play, but the reality of it is not my problem. It's not my concern. We're getting ready for New Orleans, but those 3 guys, in my opinion, are special. I mean, I was a part of many championships and many good memories with them, and whatever they decide to do at the end of the day, that's what they decide to do. But the only other team I'm looking at right now is the New Orleans Pelicans, and not those guys.
Coach Brown, I'm not going to ask you about the 8-man rotation that you use most of the night, so I'll just go straight to this question.
Okay.
Respect Shannon. Yes, now you have to seem like you have to reset, erase the board and start all over. You're not out the woods yet. You're still trying to make the playoffs. You got one more shot to do it. What do you have to say about that challenge for, you, your coaching staff, and your players?
It's the same thing. We know what we have to do against New Orleans, and we know we can't relax against them. They're a very, very good team. They're well coached. They got length. They got shooting. They got inside scoring. Our formula is the same. We got to hit first. We got to hit second. We got to hit third. We got to get out in transition and not play against their set defense all the time. And we have to have different guys step up like tonight. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they got to step up and score 35 or 40 or anything like that. But they have to bring to the table whatever they can bring to help us win. And just like Golden State, just like we've seen in the past, they're going to do this to the paint. Their paint defense is one of the best in the league, and if we feel we got 2 or 3 guys around us when we hit the paint, whether it's off of a dribble drive, it's off of a roll, it's off of a post up, it's off of an offensive rebound, spray that ball and shoot it. If you're open, if you're not, snap drive, and put pressure on the defense again at the rim. But we got to bring it on Friday against this team.